Fani. What are we going to do? What do we need to do for y'all? Y'all down in the comments down below. What do we need to do to help Fani stay out of the newspaper like this? Now, granted, it could be the news is only reporting bad things, sure. But every time something bad happens, it seems to be more frequent, actually. And every time something bad happens, it sure makes the news. Let's go. More trouble for Fani Willis as judge scolds her for being soft on crime. Wait till you hear what this person did in lenient plea deal for violent kidnapper.
I beg your pardon.
A defendant with a felonious rap sheet cuts a deal with the beleaguered prosecutor. Fani, what are you doing? And the bad thing is, down in the comments, what do we need to do to help Fani out? Just let me know. We need to go ahead and start a little process of this is what we believe. This is what the Dear Woke Christian Nation believes could help you out, Fani. This is it. Down in the comments, let me know. And also, thank you so much for liking these videos. When I do these videos, you all really show and prove. You come and watch, you comment, and you hit that like button. Hitting the like button, I've found, really helps push the video out. So thank you so much for doing that. Let's get at it. Y'all, you're not ready for this. If you haven't heard this one's pretty bad. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis looks on during the hearing in the Fulton County Courthouse on March 1st, 2024 at Atlanta. Here it comes. A remarkable reproof from Judge Scott McAfee. Wait, Judge McAfee? I remember that name. Yep, you sure do. Yes, you do.
Say, hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
This is the judge that did not decide to take Fani off the case, but said that her married boyfriend had to get taken off the case. That's right. It's Scott. No good deed goes undone, Scott. Let's go. Scott McAfee to the District Attorney of Georgia, Fulton County. Fani Willis underscores that the disqualified prosecutor has more problems than just her upended case against President Trump. Wait till you hear about this dude. The tense courtroom exchange came after Judge McAfee, a Republican, who is also presiding over the prosecution of Mr. Trump and 18 others for election interference, asked tough questions about a plea deal hammered out between Miss Willis' office and a defendant, Robert Lewis, who has been charged with, wait. Does that say 36 crimes over the last 2 decades?
I beg your pardon.
Yep, it sure does. Yes, it does say that. It does say that. That's almost 2 crimes a year. Yep, yep, you do see that. You know it. And you know if he got caught for 36 crimes, you know he did more that he didn't get caught for. But let's continue. Miss Willis had reached a plea deal with Mr. Lewis. Here, listen to this. A career of violent criminals. We're not just talking about white collar. We're not just talking about, hey, he embezzled some money, he stole too many paper clips, he speeds. No, a violent criminal who's been in and out of prison for the last 2 decades. For him to spend another 10 years behind bars for a raft of new charges. Wait. These are brand new charges, including aggravated assault, false imprisonment, kidnapping, armed robbery, and other crimes. She gave a plea deal of 10 years to this dude. And this is what he did. Y'all, what can we do to help? Fani needs some help. Fani needs help. Miss Willis elected not to pursue Mr. Lewis as a recidivism, which would have resulted in stricter sentences. Lewis could have been faced life in prison. So instead of getting life, and I don't know how old he is at the moment, instead of getting life in prison, he got 10 years. This dude seems like a cat that can probably do 10 years standing on his head. This accord means that he will spend a decade behind bars. As part of the deal, he will also not be required to name any accomplices. Way to go, Fani. Outstanding work, Lady Willis. The contours of this agreement appear to outrage one of Lewis's victims, Sharum Zaffa. ABC's affiliate in Atlanta reports that he said, they robbed me. They beat me up. They hit me with the gun. They stole my money. They took all the keys to my cars. And I'm suffering from that. I'm not accepting it, Your Honor.
He's right, you know.
I mean, I hate it, man. This dude got robbed. He got pistol whipped. He got hit with the gun. They stole his money, and then they stole his cars. Judge McAfee, who is 35 years old, I don't know why that mattered. They don't tell us how old Fani is, appeared to share this sense of umbrage and distance himself from the plea agreement, saying in the court that we'll note that if the district attorney is concerned, the bench is here. The bench here in Fulton County is soft on crime. This offer did not come from the bench. Let me read that again. We'll note that if the district attorney is concerned, the bench here in Fulton County is not soft on crime. This offer did not come from the bench. The judge also noted that the strength of the case against Lewis, arguing we've got DNA, cell phone records, and video footage. Good gracious, man.
Oh, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
At times, it appeared as if Judge McAfee was cross-examining Ms. Willis's office. According to Law and Crime, he asked if the state could just walk me through the basis of this reduction, of their reduction.
Now a word from our sponsors.
What size would you like?
How much is the medium?
$5.09.
And how much is the large?
$5.90.
So they're both $5?
$5-ish.
I'll take the large.
He added, I'm familiar with the facts of this case, and I'm familiar with Mr. Lewis's history. Oh, man, the judge even knew that you was phony. I think this is the most serious case I've seen the trial division here. The trial division have, maybe in the past year. That's saying a lot. He's saying that this is the most serious case that we've seen in the last 12 months in this division. And you're about to give this guy 10 years. Okay. Ms. Lewis, in a statement defending the deal, explained that in this case, the defendant was sentenced to 25 years to do 10. He will serve every day of the 10 years in a Georgia penal facility because he pleaded guilty to kidnapping. She adds, a judge is ultimately always responsible for sentencing. Clearly, Judge Scott McAfee thought the sentence was appropriate because he accepted the sentence and made no amendments. A judge is ultimately always responsible for sentencing. Clearly, Judge Scott McAfee thought the sentence was appropriate because he accepted the sentence and made no amendments. Okay, the judge could, I do believe that this is correct, if I'm not mistaken. The judge can say, no, I don't accept this. No, this is terrible. This is horrible. The judge could do that. I think the problem is, however, I think yes, the judge could have accepted it. That is absolutely right. But I think that's the problem. Like, you're putting the onus on the judge. Why didn't you give him? Why don't you slap him with 1,000 years and let the judge say, whoa, lady, take this down. Let's give him only 10 years. See, that would have been appropriate. But you want the judge to give you to do the lifting. You propose 10 years. The judge is just there to accept it or not. Sure, he could have not accepted it, but you gave it to him. Like, why did you not throw the whole book at him and then let the judge say, hold on, Ms. Willis, this is too harsh. This is too harsh. We got to knock this down some. No, you gave him 10 years. I think, though she's right, and I could be wrong, comment down below. Please let me know if I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but she's factually correct here. She is correct. But that doesn't take away. Well, let me ask a better question. If she had just gave him a year, would she expected the judge to slap that down and give him 10? Like, why did you only give him 10 years if you know that it's ultimately the judge's responsibility to accept it? Why don't you give him something that was meaty and he could have made an adjustment to it? Ms. Willis, who won re-election in November after garnering some 70% of the vote, I wonder how Fulton County's feeling now, is referencing that it's ultimately up to the judge, not the prosecutor, to accept or deny a plea deal or a decision to drop charges. That is true. And like I said, it's true. It's factually true.
He's right, you know.
However, if you just said, hey, judge, we don't want to give him a sentence, you do it. Well, he would say no. Why did you only give him 10 years? Judge Dale Ho in New York probed the Trump administrator's administration's decision to drop charges against Mayor Adams before ultimately ruling to drop them with prejudice, meaning that they cannot be refiled. What does that got to do with anything? Wait. Sorry about that. Judge Dale Ho in New York probed the Trump administration's decision to drop charges against Mayor Adams before ultimately ruling to drop them with prejudice, meaning they cannot be refiled. What's that got to do with this? With what's going on here? Those seem like much different, very different cases. And they're, for crying out loud, it's above the Mason-Dixie line. Why are we bringing this up? Securing sentences that are less than legal maximum is nothing new for Miss Willis. Her racketeering case against the record label YSL, here we go, which she alleges is also a criminal gang, ended with make sure you say no murder convictions after a raft. This word raft has been killing me, man. They've used it twice, and I like how they use it, man. Shout out to them. Which she alleges is also a criminal street gang, ended with no murder convictions after a raft of acquittals and plea deals. Her other racketeering case against Mr. Trump and his Camarilla for re-election interference is frozen pending the decision from Georgia's Supreme Court on whether Miss Willis's disqualification will be upheld. It was Judge McAfee who initially declined to disqualify Miss Willis for her secret romance with her hand-picked special prosecutor. I love it. Hand-picked special prosecutor. Outstanding. Nathan Wade. He found, though, that the behavior emitted an odor of mendacity.
What's that smell in this room? Didn't you notice it, Brick? Didn't you notice a powerful and obnoxious odor of mendacity in this room?
Do I have that? I got to get that. I need to add that in here. An odor of mendacity and a significant appearance of impropriety. Miss Willis's office paid Mr. Wade some $650,000, and the two took vacations together to destinations like Belize, Napa Valley, and Aruba. She testified that she paid him back in cash. Okay, sure, Fani, sure. Judge McAfee determined that the impropriety created by the affair could be cured by Mr. Wade departing the case, which he did at the same day as the judge's ruling was handed down. The Georgia Court of Appeals, though, decided by a 2-1 margin to overrule Judge McAfee and find that this is a rare case in which disqualification is mandated and no other remedy will suffice to restore public confidence in the integrity of these proceedings. I do think it's funny that Fani was looking at Judge McAfee to deal with her case with Robbie Lewis, and for lack of a better term, Judge McAfee was looking at the Georgia Supremes to do almost the exact same thing, to deal with Fani. Instead of making a hard decision, they punt it and somebody else has to deal with it. So in this case, Fani's like, well, Judge McAfee, if you thought it was too lenient, you should have did something about it. I mean, that's what just basically what she's saying. And then the same thing happened to Judge McAfee. He could have just said, nah, both of y'all are disqualified. This is just crazy. And that would have been the end of the foolishness. That would have been the conclusion of the charades. All of it would have been over with to some degree. All of it been done but the shouting. But no, he didn't do it. And that's why this case is still even out there, lingering out there like it is now, is because they just wouldn't do the right thing. I think that's so interesting. Shout out to A.R. Hoffman. He's written a raft of articles, and I appreciate this one for sure. Let me know what you think. I want to hear your thoughts about it. I asked the question earlier, what can we do to help Fani? Fani needs some help. We need help. Fani needs help, y'all. She needs help. She needs help. What can we do to help her out? And then also, thank you again for supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot that you rock with us. And I thank you so much for doing that. So if you don't mind, if you haven't already, please hit the like button. Thank you so much for subscribing. We're getting closer to that 50,000 subscriber milestone. I'm looking forward to celebrating with you all nonetheless. So real soon, I'll see you again. Grace and peace.